Hey everyone! Welcome back to your favorite pirate crew. Today we're going to talk about the origin of the Akumanomi. If you'd like to see more about One Piece in our channel, please leave your thumbs up and subscribe to join our pirate crew. But pirates, before we continue with the video, I ask that you already subscribe to our channel. That way, you can join our pirate crew, earn the devil fruit of your very own, and master your favorite hockey of your very own. It would also mean a lot to this division of the crew if you thumbs up in today's video, so that we together can become Yonkos. Now, let's continue with today's video. Are mysterious and special fruits spread throughout the world, known to grant their consumers permanent superhuman powers, as well as a permanent inability to swim. As a whole, Akumanomi encompasses hundreds of different powers, from simple ones to those capable of mass destruction. They are broadly grouped into three categories: Paramecia, Logia, and Zoan. But how did they originate? Why are they separated into these categories? That's what we're going to be covering in today's video. Akumanomi are the source of power for the most important individuals in the world, especially among the three great powers. This, along with their general rarity, makes them highly sought after. Individual fruits can be valued in the hundreds of millions in berry, and great efforts have been made to mass produce artificial versions for war use. With only one notable exception, an individual can only acquire the powers of a single Akumanomi and survive. According to Oda, a certain teacher will explain the complex mechanics behind all Akumanomi in the series at some point in the future. An Akumanomi, once consumed, gives the consumer a superpower or special characteristic, which they will soon become aware of. Someone who's eaten the Akumanomi and gained its powers is also known as an Akumanomi user. There are over 100 different Akumanomi in the world, but only one of each Akumanomi exists at any one time. Also, all Akumanomi are known for their very bad taste and for causing the consumer to permanently lose their ability to swim. Currently, it's not known exactly what Akumanomi are, where they came from, or exactly how they work. What is known is their powers can affect the lineage factor of the consumer. The fruits come in all different shapes and colors, although all Akumanomi seen so far have markings or swirl patterns. The only known exceptions are the artificial Akumanomi, which have ring patterns. The oldest Akumanomi user is Kozuki Toki, who was born 800 years ago, which means that Akumanomi have existed in the world for at least 8 centuries. Only one bite is needed for the user to gain the power of the Akumanomi, after which it becomes just a plain, useless, bad-tasting fruit. Despite this, almost everyone who's consumed an Akumanomi has eaten the whole fruit, as they are apparently unaware of this effect. Furthermore, the consumer gains the powers and disadvantages immediately after the fruit is swallowed, without having to wait for it to be digested. A person can only eat a single Akumanomi in their entire life. Any attempt to obtain a second Akumanomi power will cause the consumer's body to be torn apart, resulting in their death. The reason for this is currently unknown. It's rumored that a demon lives inside each fruit, and that it's transferred to the user's body after consumption. In this case, the consumption of 2 fruits would cause the demons to fight inside the body, but this rumor has been debunked by science. Yeah, science. Notably, there is a method that allows one to steal the powers of an Akumanomi from the corpse of a deceased user. The details of this method are currently unknown, and the only people that know about it are Marshall D. Teach and his crew. The Akumanomi are said to be the fruits of the demons of the seas, and the secret of their power is hidden in the Grand Line. Since encounters with them are rare, especially outside the Grand Line, various rumors about them have sprung up, making it rather difficult to tell whether some things are fact or fiction. Some people even dismiss them as mere myths until they get to see one of them in action. The average person knows nothing or very little about what an Akumanomi is, or what it does. This especially applies to the people in isolated countries, even within the Grand Line, such as the people of the land of Wano, and even Princess Shirayoshi of the Island of Fishmen, since none of them know about the Akumanomi and instead believe that the powers granted are some sort of curse or sorcery. Similarly, the Akumanomi can also cause the user to be considered a freak and excluded from others. This is due to some abilities that are considered too strange or frightening to be accepted as normal people. In many cases, Akumanomi users are considered a total different race, and for good reason. Many Akumanomi users have their own titles, such as Rubber Man, Magma Man, or Reindeer Man. As seen with the examples, the titles is the species, or in this case of the objects that ate the Zoan fruit, what they originally were, followed by the type of ability. The only exception is the user of the Kaji Nomi, who receives the title Ruler of Shadows. Notably, the powers of the Akumanomi usually extend through the clothes the user is wearing. Paramecia wearers alter their clothing along with themselves automatically. For example, Luffy's shirt will never pop open a button when his torso is inflated in 3rd gear. Mr. One's pants transform into blades along with his legs, etc. Zoan wearers' clothes will fit the same proportions after their transformation. Chopper's hat grew when he was in Monster Point, Chopper's shoes are constantly stretched in hybrid form, and Logia wearers transform their clothes and subsequent accessories into their element along with themselves. Oda explained in an SBS that if he'd done this realistically, the manga would have a lot of unnecessary nudity. This rule also applies to prosthetics of the body. An example of this is Queen's artificial arm, which transforms into a Brachiosaurus leg when he takes the form of a Brachiosaurus. However, this rule does not apply to all users, such as Jewelry Bonnie, whose clothes do not change in proportion to their powers. Interestingly, although eating an Akumanomi affects the genetic blueprint of the consumers, it does not cause abnormalities in the user's children. One example is the Charlotte family. Although its matriarch, Charlotte Linlin, has an Akumanomi power, none of their children were born with powers of their own. Furthermore, even though the parents cannot consume another Akumanomi, the children who do not yet have powers can consume their own Akumanomi without dying, should the opportunity present itself. Akumanomi are the source of power for some of the strongest people of the current generation in the world, including rookie pirate crews, the Marine Admirals, the Shichibukai, and at least 3 Yonko, Blackbeard, Big Mom, and Kaido. Because of their power, Akumanomi are highly sought after by both the government and the underworld, and among many other groups. If sold, they can fetch well over 100 million berries, and the Akumanomi users themselves are sold at market price as slaves. Of course, however, each individual fruit has a different value depending on the powers granted, as the Opi-Opi-Nomi is worth over 5 billion berries on the black market. They are relatively common on the Grand Line compared to the 4 blues. A typical pirate crew in the Grand Line usually revolves around one captain with an Akumanomi power, like the Bellamy Pirates, the Waphole Pirates, or the Foxy Pirates, while the stronger crews and organizations usually contain multiple Akumanomi users like the Whitebeard Pirates, the Big Mom Pirates, the Beast Pirates, the Don Quixote Pirates, the Baroque Works, or the Marines. 2 of the Emperors, Blackbeard and Kaido, go so far as to strive to collect as many Akumanomi as possible, using their own unique methods. In fact, since entering the Grand Line, almost every major opponent has had an Akumanomi ability. In the East Blue, he has only faced 2, not including Alvida, who ate his Akumanomi later after their first encounter. Akumanomi exists in a reincarnation cycle. When an Akumanomi user dies, their ability is reborn into a new fruit, at some random locations in the world. Instead of growing from a plant, the ability simply regenerates itself within another similar fruit, which then becomes an Akumanomi in question. As seen when, spoilers, Smiley died, and the power of Sarosaro Nomi, model Exalote, was reborn into a nearby apple. When this happens, the fruit with the powers change appearances. Some characteristics of the transformation of a fruit into a Akumanomi include the stem becoming noticeably more wavy than when the fruit was endowed with this ability. It also changes color and takes on the distinctive spiral patterns that Akumanomi are known for. Smile Akumanomi were seen to grow on trees, cultivated by the dwarves of the Tanata Kingdom under the coercion of the Don Quixote Pirates. Unlike normal Akumanomi, Smile are more traditional fruits that transform over time. There is an encyclopedia of Akumanomi, which lists the names and powers of all Akumanomi. However, only some of them have illustrations, which means that most of the fruits cannot be identified by their appearance. For example, Akumanomi and Yami had pictures and could be recognized before consumption. Awanomi and Yushi model giraffe did not, and could only be identified by the abilities they confer. This implies that the information in the book is incomplete, and that there are still fruits with attributes that have not been documented. One individual known to use this book is Blackbeard, who, in his quest for Yami, memorized its form from the illustration provided. The Vin Smoke family also has a copy of the encyclopedia, which Sanji read and became interested in Suki-Suki-Nomi. All Akumanomi are categorized into 3 types/classes. Currently, of all the named fruits, only 2 non-canonical Akumanomi have an undetermined type. Paramecia, the most common of the 3 types of Akumanomi, Paramecia type Akumanomi grant their user superhuman powers that do not involve animals or elemental transformations. Powers such as generating shockwaves or turning people touched into targets that attract objects. Paramecia type fruits can alter characteristics of the user's body, such as granting a rubbery physique or a bladed body. Some Paramecia fruits allow the user to modify the people, objects, and environment around them, such as making things levitate or turning people into toys. In addition, there are some users who can generate and manipulate substances, such as wax and poison. Legia, the rarest and most powerful type of Akumanomi. The Legia type Akumanomi allows its user to create, control, and transform their body into a natural element, such as ice, mud, smoke, fire, or darkness. The elemental transformation effectively renders the users intangible, as well as allowing the user to remain in control of their body, even when it's broken into pieces. They also gain all abilities related to that element. Someone with sand powers can absorb surrounding moisture, and with lightning powers, the user can travel through conductive objects. Zoan type Akumanomi users gain the ability to transform into an animal, as well as a hybrid form between the animal and their own species. A recent scientific discovery allows Zoan fruits to be integrated into inanimate objects, giving them life and granting them the common transformation of a Zoan. Zoan fruits from carnivorous animals are best suited for combat. Zoan fruits have several subclassifications, these being Ancestral Zoan fruits that allow the user to transform into an already extinct species, such as some dinosaurs. Ancestral Zoans are rare and seem to be stronger than normal Zoans. In Panini's official translation, it's called Prehistoric Zoan, Mythic Zoan fruits that allow the user to transform into mythological creatures, such as a dragon or phoenix. Zoan fruits of mythical animals tend to have special powers. For example, the Phoenix Zoan allows the user to generate flames with healing powers, and the Zoan of a divine wolf allows one to generate the ice element. Mythic Zoans are the rarest type of Akumanomi, even rarer than Legia. In Panini's official translation, it's called a mythological Zoan. Artificial Zoan, artificially created Zoan fruits that provide the user with a permanent animal characteristic, although in very rare cases the user is able to control the transformation. Artificial Zoan fruits have a success rate of only 10%, while the other 90%. Besides not gaining any animal traits, lose the ability to swim, and are no longer able to express negative emotions, remaining permanently in a smiling state. The artificial fruits were developed by Vegapunk and Don Quixote Doflamingo, as we still don't know the real origin of the Akumanomi, not having seen it properly in the story, but with the certainty that in the future we will know. We close the video here. And as for us, well, that's it, my Straw Hat Pirate. Really hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any suggestions for a future video, don't forget to comment below, because we'll be reading them all as we always do. Also, don't forget to leave a like if you enjoy the video. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any content from